everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to show you how can you use Pydantic AI to create your agents. So this is one of the most recently released things, and in this video I will show you what this Pydantic AI is and why we should use this particular AI agenting thing when we have a lot many other options available. So let's quickly first get into it and understand why we should go with Pydantic AI. Okay, the very first reason why we want this is because we all know that there are a lot many agentic frameworks, and virtually every single agentic framework and LLM library which are developed using LLM are using Pydantic under the hood. And if you look at the list by OpenAI, Anthropic, so there are a lot many SDKs like OpenAI SDK, Anthropic SDK, LangChain, Llama Index, AutoGPT, Creo AI. In fact, there are a lot many more. Those are all built with the by the team who built the Pydantic AI. So if we have so much thing which is very inspirational, why can't we go ahead and utilize it? So these are the just few features. The third one, if I will talk, it's a model agnostic. It means that there are a lot many models which are going to be supported by this Pydantic AI, but as of today it supports just few, and among those we have OpenAI, we have Grok, as well as Gemini. So these are the things which are supported, and Anthropic is coming soon for this particular agentic AI thing. So one thing is clear, that whatever the model we will be choosing, of course we will be able to use this particular agenting framework in future, but I would recommend you to just get started if you have access to Gemini, OpenAI, or even the Grok. It will give you an idea what this is all about and how easy it is to use it. And the fourth benefit is type safe and efficient parsing. So we all have seen my earlier videos in which I have explained like what this Pydantic library is all about. So using this library, we can go ahead and change the response format. We can define our own library classes, we can define our own collections, and then we can say that, okay, parse my input or the output in this particular format. So that's where Pydantic is utilized. Now under this Pydantic AI framework, we can utilize the same type safety and the efficient parsing feature, in which we need not to parse our LLM's output explicitly based on our classes or the requirements. And next feature is supports stream responses as well. So it means that we can go ahead with the long responses or the long output from our LLM. It does provide integration with Logfire, and I think this is a very good point over here. So we know that nowadays we all are working with LLMs, and the response out of these LLM apps are completely unpredictable. So if we don't know what is going on, then we definitely need some sort of tools to understand both the model performance and the behavior of the applications. So that's where we have the Logfire integration, and I'm sure they will be adding lot many more integrations going forward, but as of today it's just the Logfire. And if I reiterate, the models we can use today are OpenAI, Grok, and the Gemini. So let's get started, and the very first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and install this particular package, which is Pydantic-AI. And once this is installed, we can go ahead and import the required packages. So the very first one we will take is Pydantic AI, because that is the one which is having agent. So I would say from Pydantic AI import agent, and then we need to have the base model class which is going to cast the response, or which is going to convert our response into the way we want. So for that we need to have base model. So I would say from Pydantic import base model. So this is the one. Then next thing is the model which we are going to use. So in my case I'm going with OpenAI, but if you're going with different one, definitely you need to import the respective package over here. So I'm saying Pydantic AI models dot. So these are the models which you can use. I'm going with the OpenAI one, and then I'm saying OpenAI model. So I have already copied my OpenAI key, so the same key I will be using. So now we have all the packages imported. Next thing is we need to define the response format. What kind of response are you looking forward for? So I'm going to create a new class and we'll say calculator results, because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask my agent to perform some calculation to add two given numbers. So let's see how we can do that. So class calculator, and let's append result to it so that it would be easy for us to identify. And then inside this we need to pass in the base model. Now here you define what all things you need in your output. So I can take number 1, which is of type int. Then we can also have number 2, which is of type int, and we can have result, or let's say answer, which is going to be again an integer type. So now we have this class. So whatever the output we are getting, we want just these three things. We don't want any theoretical descriptions or anything. Okay, so next thing is we need to instantiate our agent. So for that, what we can do is I'm going to create a variable, let's say calculator agent. So I will call it C agent, and then in this one I can pass many parameters. Here you can see the very first one we need is the model parameter. So I'm going to say model equal to OpenAI model, in which you need to pass which model do you want to use. So I would go with GPT-4o, and then I need to pass in my key. So for that I would say API key equal to OpenAI API key. This is the very first thing. Second thing, let's see what we need to pass in here. So second thing we need is what would be the result type. So what kind of response are you looking for? So we'll say result type equal to the base class which we have defined above, which is calculator result in our case. Then we need to define the system prompt. So here you can define what you want your agent to do for you. So I would say you are an amazing mathematician who can perform correct calculation. Okay, and we also need to tell here that what kind of function we want to invoke. So we'll just instruct it that use calculate function to answer the question. So use calculate function, which we will define in a while, to answer the question. So this is what we need to define to create any agent. Next thing is we need to define our function calculate, which we just mentioned here. So I would say define calculate, and this function is going to take two numbers, I would say n1 and n2, and the response type would obviously be int because we are adding the integer here. And then we can go ahead and return n1 plus n2. I will explain you a little bit more about this, but let's go with the very basic example. So now we have this function. Now we want our agent to know about this function. So what we can do is we need to decorate it with our, we need to associate this function with the agent we created above. So the agent instance we will give here this, and then we will say tool plain. So let's say if you have a requirement where you want to maintain the context, then you can do just tool. If you don't want any context management, you can just say tool underscore plain. So this will do the magic. We are almost done. The final thing which we need to do is we need to make a call to our agent. So we'll say cagent dot run sync. If you want, you can also call the asynchronous version, and then I'm saying what is the sum of 3 and 5. Let's give this question. Let me correct this as well. What is the sum of 3 and 5? Now whatever the response we are getting, we just want to print it. So I would say response dot data dot number 1. Now these are all the properties. Let me quickly paste it over here. Okay, so we want to get number 1, number 2, as well as the answer. So Here you can see we are getting the intelligent support for all these because we have defined these three properties, or you can say these three types of objects inside our class, and that's the reason we are getting this over here. I'm going to save this and let me quickly execute this class first. So I would say Python sample.py, and here you can see that we have the response 3, 5 and 8 because we asked our system to agent to do a sum of 3 and 5. So that's how we are getting the output here. Now the example which I have taken is very straightforward, but in your case it could be a very complex one. Let's say you have your own API which is going to return some result over here in the line number 25. So in that case, API calls, you can make it inside this function. Or let's say you are creating an agent where you want to get the quote or the stock price for the particular stock, then also you can create a similar kind of function wherein you will be using your finance APIs, whether it is Wire Finance or any other one which you are using. The only thing which you need to take care is make sure that you are defining this properly. So let's say this is my one function and I want to define another function, then I will just create similar kind of function, paste it over here and will associate it to the agent. So it's completely on you whether you want to go with one or you want to create multiple agents depending on your requirements. But I would suggest if you are having different kind of functionalities, then it is always recommended to go with the different kind of agents. So this could be your one agent. Here you can define similar agent which is like, and of course you need to change this function name, you need to change these parameters. So once this is done, I think we are good to go, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video and have learned a new capability. Although this particular framework is not yet fully established, it is in very early stages, but it will give you a good start if you are looking forward to build some very small application. But if you are looking forward for some large production scale application, then I would recommend you to wait for some time until this framework gets matured. So with that, I will see you soon in my next video, and stay tuned for more interesting stuff. Thanks for watching.